She walked for miles. Planet after planet. Door after door. Always the same answer. We don't hire her kind. Until one man said yes. He didn't know her name. He didn't ask for her story. He just gave her a job. And for the first time, she stopped running. But his wife saw the way he looked at her. And she knew that wasn't kindness. That was danger. So she told him, "Fire her, or I'm gone." He refused. And the next day, the alien girl returned. With a baby. And none of them were ready for what came next. The wind rolled dust through the main road of outer docks like it was trying to bury the town alive. Signs creaked, half lit. Doors slammed with mechanical hisses. And Naira walked. No one looked at her for long. Some turned away. Others narrowed their eyes, their hands tightening instinctively around whatever they carried: bags, tools, children. She had stopped asking with words after the third rejection that morning. Now she just stepped into a place, waited, and watched their faces fall. A diner. A fuel station. A mechanic's bay. Always the same. We don't hire off-worlders. Try Central if they still take your kind. You're gonna scare off real customers. She didn't argue. Didn't beg. Just left. By midday, her boots were lined with powdery soil. Her braid had loosened, strands of blue-black hair clinging to her cheeks. She smelled like heat and iron and days without shelter. That's when she found the corner diner. No neon. Just a rusted sign and a screen door that buzzed before it opened. She stepped in. It was quiet. The kind of quiet that had gotten used to itself. Booths faded by time. A few old men sat nursing recycled coffee, too tired to care who walked through the door. Behind the counter, a man looked up. Middle-aged. Graying beard. Apron stained from memory, not just food. She waited. He stared for a few seconds. Then set down the mug he was drying. Looking for something? She nodded. No words. Can you clean tables? She nodded again. Start now. No hesitation. No speech. Just like that. She moved. The cloth was worn but clean. Her hands moved efficiently. She didn't glance at the customers. Didn't linger. Just cleared dishes, wiped crumbs, stacked trays. The man watched her for a while. Then returned to the coffee machine. He didn't ask her name. She didn't offer it. That evening, he gave her a bowl of stew and pointed to the back. You can sleep in a storage room. No locks. She sat cross-legged on the floor, the bowl cradled in her hands. She didn't eat quickly. She didn't seem hungry. She just existed. That night, Sam drove home later than usual. Laura noticed. She was sitting on the couch, one leg curled under her, reading reports from the border zone. She didn't look up. You stayed open late. He hesitated. Had help today? She raised an eyebrow. What kind of help? Sam shrugged. Some off-worlder. Quiet. Just cleans. Laura's book closed. You brought an alien into our space. She's not a threat. Doesn't talk. Just works. Laura stood. Crossed the room in 3 slow steps. Sam, we lost people to their kind. Real people. Our friends. She's not one of them. They are all the same. Just because she has a face like a ghost doesn't mean she doesn't carry a knife under it. Sam met her eyes. She looked like she was already dead. Laura flinched. Not from the words. From the way he said them. Like he had seen something in that girl he hadn't seen in her for years. She turned away. You'll fire her. Tomorrow. He didn't answer. In the diner, Naira curled up on the floor of the storage room. She didn't cry. Didn't pray. She placed one hand over her stomach. And closed her eyes. The rain came without warning. Thick drops against metal roofs. Sudden. Cold. The kind of storm that made the outer docks look even more forgotten than usual. Sam stood behind the counter of the diner, watching the street flood in minutes. The lights flickered. Old power grid. Older guilt. He hadn't fired her. Naira still came in every morning. Still worked in silence. Still left when the sun dipped behind the hills. And every night, Laura said less. But her silence cut deeper than her shouting ever had. Tonight, she'd said just one thing. Decide. Tomorrow. Her or me. Sam didn't answer. Because he didn't know how to say what he needed without breaking something that couldn't be repaired. He locked the diner early. Walked home under the storm, jacket pulled tight, boots splashing through puddles. The wind pushed at his back like it wanted to hurry him toward something he wasn't ready for. Laura was in the kitchen. Not cooking. Just standing, arms crossed, eyes hard. You didn't fire her? No. She nodded once. No drama. No tears. You think this is about jealousy? He stayed quiet. It's not. It's about history. You saw the reports. The checkpoints. What they've done. What we've had to bury. She's not them. Laura walked to the window. Watched the rain. Her voice was quieter now. And you're not you anymore. At least not the version that used to come home without shadows in his eyes. He had no answer for that. A knock at the door. Soft. Slow. They both turned. Sam opened it. Naira stood in the downpour, soaked to the bone, her braid undone, hair plastered to her face. In her arms wrapped in a threadbare cloth was a child. Small. Silent. Wide-eyed. The skin shimmered faintly under the porch light. Pale silver. Not quite hers. Not quite human. Sam's breath caught. He stepped aside without speaking. Naira entered like a shadow. She didn't ask. Didn't explain. She just stood in the middle of the living room, rain pooling at her feet, arms wrapped tightly around the child. Laura stared. What is that? Naira looked at her. Not defensive. Not pleading. Just tired. I can't run anymore, she said. The baby shifted, eyes blinking slowly, mouth opening in a quiet yawn. Laura backed away. You brought this into our home. I brought her nowhere, Naira replied. I only brought her here. Sam stepped forward, reached out slowly, touched the edge of the cloth. The baby didn't flinch. Its fingers wrapped around one of his. He dropped to one knee. What's her name? Naira didn't answer right away. Her voice was barely there. She doesn't have one. Laura laughed. Not joy. Not humor. A sharp, dry thing. Of course not. Because she's not supposed to exist. Sam looked up. She does now. Thunder rolled. The house shuddered. No one moved. Naira looked like she might collapse, but didn't. Laura looked like she might scream, but didn't. Sam looked at both of them and felt something he hadn't felt in years. Alive. Not happy. Not certain. Just present. I don't want your help, Naira said. I just want a place for her to sleep. One night. Then we'll go. Laura turned away. Sam took the child. She'll stay, he said. He didn't ask permission. And no one offered forgiveness. The notice came at dawn. A government courier drone hovered outside the house, pulsing red and blue. Sam stepped out barefoot, robe pulled tight. The message blinked across the drone's visor. Unregistered hybrid life form identified. Surrender required immediately. Failure to comply will result in sanction. He stared at it for a long moment. Then closed the door. Inside, Naira sat curled on the living room floor, the child asleep against her chest. Laura stood by the kitchen window, arms folded, jaw tight. They know, Sam said. Laura didn't answer. They want the baby? Still nothing. Naira looked up. Her eyes were calm. Tired, but calm. I'll go. No, Sam said too quickly. Laura turned. What do you mean no? She's not giving her up. Laura stepped closer. Sam. This isn't a stray. It's a hybrid. It's illegal. This could get us both detained. We're not handing a baby over to them. She's not our baby. Naira flinched, just slightly. Laura's voice cracked now. You remember when we tried? 3 years. Tests. Drugs. That last miscarriage. And now what? You bring this thing into our home. It's not like that, Sam said. No? Then what is it? I don't know. But it's not her fault. It's not the baby's fault. Laura looked at him like she didn't recognize him anymore. You wanted a child. I gave everything to give you that. And now you protect someone else's. Sam's face didn't change. I'm protecting what's here. Right now. What matters? Laura's eyes welled. But she didn't cry. She just stepped back. I was your wife, she whispered. But I'm not the one you chose to protect. No one stopped her when she walked out. Not even Sam. Naira didn't speak. She just rocked the baby slowly, whispering something in a language he didn't know. That night, Naira left. Sam woke to an open door, wind howling through the hallway. The baby's blanket was gone. So were her few belongings. She hadn't left a note. Just silence. And that same emptiness he used to feel before she came. But now it hurt more. Because he finally understood. He hadn't fallen in love with Naira. He'd fallen in love with a chance to be good again. And now that chance was gone. Sam searched the outer docks with a desperation he hadn't felt in years. Not when Laura first bled. Not when they packed the last crib away. Not when the silence between them became permanent. This was different. The storm had passed, leaving the streets slick and silver. He checked the diner, the alleys, even the rusted transport stations near the waste fields. Nothing. No trace. But he knew she wouldn't leave the zone. Not with the child. He found her just after midnight, in the shadow of the abandoned military depot Unit 12A, a place no one visited since the withdrawal. A broken place for broken people. The door creaked when he pushed it open. She didn't look up. Naira sat on a folded blanket, the child wrapped against her chest. Her head tilted slightly as she hummed. The melody was old. Human. Something Sam hadn't heard since childhood, a lullaby from Earth's northern provinces. Simple. Soothing. Almost holy in the way it filled the space. He stepped in. She kept singing. When the final note faded, she looked at him. Sam said nothing. Just walked over and sat beside her. The concrete was cold. The air smelled of oil and dust and forgotten orders. For a long time, there were no words. Finally, he asked, "Is she mine?" Naira didn't answer immediately. Then she shook her head. He nodded. No anger. No shock. "Do you know who the father is?" She looked away. Not with shame, just distance. "I was held at Sector V for 6 months. Interrogation camps don't leave names." The words were dry. Not bitter. Just fact. Sam felt something tear inside him. Not for what was done, but for how calmly she carried it. He looked at the baby. She blinked up at him with eyes too old for her age. "She has your quiet," he said. Naira almost smiled. "She likes your voice," she replied. They sat together in the half-dark. Outside, the wind shifted. The stars blinked like they were trying to remember how to shine. "I'm sorry," Sam said, finally. Naira didn't respond. He turned to her. Not for before. For now. For not coming sooner. She held the child tighter. "I didn't leave because I was angry," she said. "I left because I knew what would happen next. They'll come. They'll always come." Sam nodded. "Then let me be here until they do." She looked at him. Really looked. "What for?" "So you're not alone." The baby shifted, a small hand pressing against Sam's arm. Naira whispered something in her native tongue. A blessing. Or maybe a warning. He didn't ask which. They didn't move for a long time. just breathed and waited. Together. The order came at dawn. Patrol lights streaked across the sky. 3 drones, 2 transport units, 1 official carrier bearing the insignia of Sector Command. The broadcast repeated every 30 seconds. Unregistered off-worlder located. Surrender Naira Veil and hybrid subject immediately. Compliance will result in leniency. Naira didn't flinch. She was already standing when Sam woke. Her bag was packed. The child slept quietly on a makeshift cot of blankets and rags. "I'm leaving," she said simply. "You don't have to." "I do." He stood slowly. Looked at the child. Then at her. "I won't let them take her." Naira didn't argue. Didn't beg. She just touched the baby's forehead, whispered a word he didn't understand, and stepped toward the door. Sam scooped the child into his arms. "Where are you going?" she asked. He looked at her. The only answer in his eyes. "To where they'll see me first." He walked out of the depot. Into the light. The patrols adjusted position instantly, locking onto his form. Voices shouted. Orders barked. Weapons raised. But Sam didn't stop. He kept walking until he stood at the edge of the landing zone. "This child is mine," he said. Calm. Firm. "She stays with me." The lead officer stepped forward. Helmeted. Unmoving. "That child is not fully human. She must be processed. She's alive. That's all that matters." Tension held the air hostage. From the edge of the depot ruins, Naira watched. Silent. Distant. Not stepping forward. Not interfering. She knew what this was. It wasn't sacrifice. It was choice. And he had made it. A vehicle approached. Laura. She stepped out slowly, eyes locked on Sam, then on the child in his arms. Her breath caught. Sam didn't look away. Laura walked until she stood a few feet behind him. "He's serious," she said, her voice low. The officer didn't move. Laura looked at the baby. Then at Naira in the distance. Then at Sam. Tears welled, but she didn't cry. She nodded. And turned away. She walked back to her vehicle. Drove off without another word. Naira stepped closer now. Slowly. Carefully. The soldiers didn't stop her. She stood beside Sam but didn't reach for the child. Instead, she said only, "You don't owe me this." He looked at her. Eyes soft. Certain. "I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it because I can." The baby stirred. Blinked. The officer finally lowered his weapon. Custodial rights registered. Responsibility assumed. If any harm comes to the child. "It won't," Sam said. The squad turned. Left. The drones pulled away. The sky returned to stillness. Sam stood there a moment longer, the baby in his arms. When he turned to Naira, she was already walking away. She didn't look back. She didn't have to. Because sometimes, the only ending worth anything, is knowing you were finally believed. And for Sam, standing alone on the edge of everything he thought he knew, holding a child that wasn't his by blood but his by choice, there was no regret. Only breath. And silence. And something close to peace.